And welcome to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert, and joining me is my co-host, Joel Meyer. How are things over there in Vancouver, Joel?
Excellent. Yeah, sunny here. Of course, I mentioned last week I went on that camping trip, which was a hell of a time. My brothers, some friends, my dad, and yeah, got a couple good stories. Like I ran my brother's quad into a rock, made it through the splits, and it bent the fucking wheel, so we had to get that unstuck. Another thing, I was blind drunk, of course, on the Saturday night, and the rest of the guys went up in a truck to the top of the mountain. I figured I would try to walk up there, but I'm not as fit as I used to be, and I didn't make it. So I collapsed on the grass. So I'm just lying there, drinking, singing, and then I hear this rustling, and I like the shape of a dog or something. I thought it was a coyote or a wolf or some shit was coming up to me. So I reached for my rifle, but that's just before I got it, the fucking thing started kissing my face, and yeah, it was my brother's dog. So that was a bit scary. I probably would have pissed myself if it wasn't hammered, but yeah, that was fun times. Yeah, and then we left in the middle of that night, so I didn't even sleep at all until Sunday night. So I'm too old for this, man. I'm fucking 35. I shouldn't be staying up for multiple days in a row anymore. But you got to do what you got to do. When you're having a blast, you just keep it going.
Yeah, they warn you when you're young to enjoy it, and it gets worse. And it does get worse now in your 30s. Like once you hit into your, you're in your mid 30s now, in my low 30s. Like it's tough. It's tough when you don't get enough sleep, or if you're just hung over for days. You just gotta hair of the dog, and I'm sure you're good going back at that.
Yeah, very experienced with the hair of the dog. Speaking of dogs, yeah. So how's your weekend?
Well, my weekend was pretty good. Flyers rookie series on Friday, Saturday. Michkov made his debut Friday night. He had a pretty good goal against the Rangers. Tried to do a pass over the net. He looked dominant. So the Michkov hype is off the charts here in Philadelphia. But I mean, right now, the city's just still in shock after that Eagles loss on Monday night, and it's Nick Sirianni. I don't know what he's doing. Just run the ball. Take the points in the first quarter. Like it was just so many things to complain about with that, and it's tough. It's really tough to see the British loss. Like luckily, I'm just a casual fan now, but I did have Eagles money line and like a boosted parlay, so I was a little bit dejected for that.
97% chance to win the game according to the analytical stuff. I was fine with it at the time. Thought it was a beautiful play call. Just blame Saquon Barkley, but I guess if you just run the ball twice, or forget about the field goal, just run it twice, and then make the Falcons drive the ball all the way down the field. And if they tie it, so what? Yeah, the defense was absolutely brutal too on the the Falcons drive. It's like 3 plays all of a sudden they're on the 10-yard line. Fuck, man. I got the Eagle stuff. I got other teams to win that division and NFC South. So yeah, that was a brutal loss. I had the under though, so that was okay. And that's the thing too. That was a sweat-free under until the end, because if the Eagles actually drove the field on the last play, that would have made it 46. I had 45.5. So yeah, that's the silver lining of not converting on that last drive. Jalen Hurts, what a throw, eh? You just need a field goal. He dumps the thing, fucking air punt. That was brutal.
Fucking playing hero ball there. I guess. I mean, they're really missing AJ Brown now. He's going to be out for a few weeks apparently. So I don't know. Get Dallas Goedert in the play call. Like get or just fucking run the ball with Saquon Barkley. Like you don't need Hurts scrambling around out there. But whatever. Whatever. This is the hockey show. So we'll get into some hockey here. But yeah, NFC is how about your Saints? Saints 2-0, 91 points through 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think they. It's only the 4th time ever a team scored like 40 plus points in the first 2 weeks. I mean, it looks like Drew Brees and Sean Payton out there. Yeah, Saints are great. Bears, not so much. But yeah, I didn't figure that they would beat the Texans on Sunday. Yeah, Saints are looking good. Glad they kicked the Cowboys' ass. Yeah, the total night and day difference from last season with Pete Carmichael calling the plays. Now they got Kubiak in there. Yeah, Saints are looking good.
Yeah, Saints are looking real good. I have like a $10 bet with a boost on them to win the South. So I already have positive cash out value. So I'm not cashing out, but
they're the favorite now.
Good to see that there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right. The war against corporate gambling is heating up, and SGPN needs you to do your part. if you can take a couple seconds to rate and review the Hockey Gambling Podcast. Most importantly, tell a friend. Word of mouth is the heartbeat of SGPN. And the heartbeat of the Boston Bruins, some argue, is Jeremy Swayman. It came out today that he will not be reporting to camp until he has a contract. I think Sweeney threw Bissonnette under the bus a little bit, calling out Spit and Chicklets, saying that that they weren't picking up the phone or something. But yeah, we're seeing now Boston and Nashville both screw the pooch with their goaltending situation, with Nashville locking up Saros before doing something with Askarov, and now Boston trading Allmark before locking up Swayman. So how are you taking this news for Boston?
Similar situations, I guess, because I think both teams figured that their other goalie would sign, and then there was a miscommunication or a changing of minds in the case of Askarov. So I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes there. It's important, obviously, to get him signed because he was the best goalie in the league last year, I think. And yeah, and then it's a sign that the Bruins culture isn't quite what it used to be. The Bergeron gone. Players aren't quite taking the haircut that they used to. And yeah, Swayman hanging out this long, holding up for the big dollars is proof of that. But yeah, it's crucial that they get him signed. Otherwise, you have to go to Corpus Sal or get Lankin on for. Maybe that's what Kevin Lankin is waiting for. He was their best player last year, I think. So absolutely imperative.
Yeah, and there's two ways to look at it now. Like I haven't checked if the odds have moved at all, but like you can fade the Bruins thinking that Swayman might not sign until the season starts, and also the Marchand injuries that came out, like maybe fade the Bruins. But if the odds are moving and you're confident Swayman's going to get signed, you can maybe get a good number now. I haven't looked into those odds yet, but
they haven't moved really.
No, I can't imagine in the peak start of the football season that the books are doing much for hockey.
I think that they'll sign him though. I don't like they have to. They'll just have to spend a few extra bucks.
Yeah, they only have $8.6 million in cap space, which I guess should be enough to sign him. But he's 25 now. It's going to be his big contract, so maybe we'll see what happens there if they have to waive somebody or send some cap space out to do that. But one player that did take a haircut for his team, Sidney Crosby, signed a 2-year contract extension worth an AAV of 8.7 because, of course, he did. I speculated last podcast that maybe he'll go to Colorado or something, but playing out his career here in Pittsburgh is probably best for his legacy.
No doubt. Now they just have to figure out a way to field a more competitive team there, because their roster is old and looking bleak. Maybe Carlson goes back to his 2022 form, a Norris winning form, but he didn't look like the same player last year, although he was one of their best players, to be fair. But yeah, they need the other guys to step up. They have like almost the worst prospect pool in the league, and now they have no Jake Gensel. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a long season for Pittsburgh. I haven't bet them in any which way, over or under their point total, but if anything, I would lean to the under. It's just the fact that their power play, I think, has to be better this year. So that's the only thing. Like the positive regression on the power play. It's the only thing keeping me off that under. But yeah, it's a good for Crosby. He's an absolute legend, real cool guy. So yeah, good for Pittsburgh with getting him, keeping him around. You don't see that happen as much as it used to. So yeah, love the kid.
Yeah, the Penguins' ceiling isn't very high, and their floor is pretty low if they have some injuries or Carlson regresses to his horrible defensive form. So, yeah, I can't really bet on the Penguins at all right now. Only player got locked up in Detroit, locked up Lucas Raymond to an 8-year contract with an AAV just over $8 million. They got Larkin for 8.7 now till 2031, Raymond till 2032. DeBrincat till 2027. Still need to sign Moritz Seider. They have 8.7 in space to do so. So I imagine he gets signed there. And Detroit, still good, but I don't know. Some of those middling contracts signed over the past 2 off seasons might hold him back.
Yeah, that's just another deal that could look great, like the Jack Hughes deal. If Lucas Raymond takes another step forward, real solid player, had an awesome rookie campaign. But he still has a lot of room to grow, and he's got a lot of time to do it. 8 years for $8 million, I think, is a great deal. yeah, even if he doesn't really grow, that's still a good deal. So yeah, that's definitely a win for Steve Eisman.
Yeah. Trying to find some other news here before we go to the break. One more thing. I saw today, Craig Berube said that William Nylander will start the season at center. I know Sheldon Keefe tried that, but not for too long. I'm kind of confused by it because they have Matthews, Tavares, and Domi down the middle, and then Camp as a fourth line center is fine. Like they don't really have as much winger depth. I guess maybe they're counting on Pacioretty to play in the top six, middle six, but I don't know. I feel like I'd rather see Nylander with Tavares on that second line.
Yeah, I think it's a move to reduce the workload of Tavares. He's older now and he's not playing as well as he used to. And by putting him on the wing, I think would limit his responsibilities and put more of the load on Nylander, who's a much better player right now. So I think that's the move. Could be wrong, but I think that you'd see a Nylander second line center and with Tavares.
Yeah, it's just rare to see a player go from winger to center at like this point in his career. I mean, I guess he's still relatively young. Like you more so see centers go to wingers like Tavares, like Claude Giroux's done, like players like that. So interesting to see how Craig Berube gets that to work. All right, we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em is always adding to their awesome menu. They now have first TD projections. There are a ton of ways to win with NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts and no sweat entries. So sign up with promo code HGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code HGP. All right, Joel, anything else before we get into our Canucks preview here?
No, let's get right into it. Going back to last season, of course, the Canucks were the surprise team of 2023-2024, coming out of the gates real strong. The PDO Kings, of course, everyone scoring except for Ilya Mikheyev. Demko was crushing it. He was favored for the Vezina at one point. They obviously slowed down towards the latter half of the season. Scoring kind of was limited, and the goaltending not as good, but the defensive structure improved. So that's a sign of the coaching that Jack Adams winner Rick Tocchet did. Compensated for the absence of goals with real solid defensive play, which is a massive difference from how they were playing under Bruce Boudreau the previous seasons. So again, just elite coaching, I think, is the story of the Canucks season. They crushed the Oilers multiple times at the start of the year. That was a sign of things to come. They never really looked back. So great season. Very active front office, of course, with Jimmy Rutherford doing wonders there, bringing in Zadorov early on, then Lindholm later. And he saw a chance that they could win and acted on it. Like that's what you do when you're a confident GM. You don't just sit around. You're active, and that's what he did when he's in Pittsburgh, and that's what he's doing here in Vancouver. And then they lost Demko at the beginning of the playoffs, and they still had a great playoff run. They were the lesser team, I think, against the Predators, but Shilovs was magnificent in relief, the young goalie there. And I think they played McDavid the hardest. They shut him down better than anyone else in the playoffs. Even the Panthers let him loose a little bit too much in the Stanley Cup Finals. But the Canucks were, I think, the better team actually against the Oilers. At least as good. Deserve to win the series, I think. But that's what happens. Game 7 in Vancouver doesn't tend to go well. A+ season, of course. Massive surge from what the team was looking like for the past few years.
Yeah, completely agree with all that. Rick Tocchet has been fantastic since taking over in the middle of the 2022-23 season. And he had 44 points in 36 games then, 109 points in a full season last year. So that's a 106-point pace for per 82 games, even with a team that was not performing well when he took over. So definitely credit to him. He deserved a Jack Adams winner last season. You got in on that quite a bit. Expected goals 4%, 8th, goals for per 60, 14th, goals against per 66. So a little bit more defensive than offensive, which obviously helps having Thatcher Demko in net too. Very successful season, I would say. And like you said, he even had a good playoff run with that Demko injury with Silovs coming in. And DeSmith injured as well. I mean, I think if they had Demko healthy, they probably make the Stanley Cup final and give the Panthers a pretty good run. I know I think I had that as a exact matchup, Panthers versus Canucks. But yeah, like you said, they brought in the addition at the deadline. They got Zadorov, they got Lindholm. So yeah, good to see the Canucks on the up and up, and expecting more this season.
No doubt. Yeah, with the offseason, you have to figure in those in-season moves with Lindholm and Zadorov, but of course they lost both. So I guess you can't really count them in the offseason grade here. They haven't been that active. They brought in basically they just did a big trade with the Bruins, right? They brought in Jake DeBrusk, Derek Forbort, Danton Heinen, and then they lost Lindholm and Zadorov to the Bees. And it worked out for both teams, I think, with the Bruins getting bigger on defense and finally a potential first-line center. And then the Canucks got some speed and some scoring, which they desperately needed on the wing with Jake DeBrusk. Forbort and Heinen will provide more depth. And they got Vincent Desharnais, too, from the Oilers, another big defenseman to potentially replace Zadorov there on the back end. They lost Ian Cole, one of the smarter players in the league, and Casey DeSmith, of course. So the goaltending is going to be a struggle, as we'll get into the next segment. With Demko's potentially missing part of the season. I think that we can give them a B plus for their offseason, considering they met the needs, I think, with a bit more speed on the wing, even if they lost Elias Lindholm, who was a warrior in the playoffs. Wasn't great in the regular season for the Canucks, but he was very good in the playoffs. And it'll been a big reason why they were able to limit McDavid's damage there in the second round.
Yeah, a pretty decent offseason for Vancouver, I would say. I mean, their major losses were the players they added at the deadline. Weren't really sure if they were going to keep Lindholm and Zadorov. DeBrusk, definitely a big addition there for the top six to help out some scoring. Danton Heinen seems like a good depth guy. And yeah, Forbort and Desharnais can replace that physicality that Zadorov got on the back end there for the Canucks. So not too much change in there for my projections for the Canucks. I still feel like they're going to be one of the top teams here in the Pacific. We'll get into this season next, but also worth noting, earlier this week, it came out Dakota Joshua had testicular cancer. So not sure when he's going to be ready for this season, if at all. So that's a bit of a hit to their third line. I think he plays for you guys, depth there, but another year here of Tocchet coaching. So solid offseason, probably a B minus C plus.
Yeah. Dakota Joshua, part of that, stud third line with Connor Garland and Teddy Bluger. Very, very, I don't know, they probably the best third line in the league, really, considering what they do offensively, defensively. It's like the line you throw out there when you need to change things around. If you need a momentum swing, you just put those guys out there, and then oftentimes they'll get it done. So yeah, if they miss him for an extended part of the season, that's a big blow. Not just for what he provides on his own, but for what he does for that line. Him and Garland in particular have an elite chemistry with one another. So yeah, that's going to be a struggle. And of course, another potential struggle would be Thatcher Demko misses the extended part of time. I mean, we thought that he was ready to go for Game 7. He looked great in warmups, and now we hear that he's not going to be 100% for preseason, and then that's probably going to linger into regular season. And it's a chronic concern with this guy. He just gets hurt all the time because he's very explosive on his body, and the way he moves his hips and back and forth in net, it's a violent way to play, and that has consequences on your body. So that's unfortunate because when he's on his game, he's one of the best goalies in the league. So that's going to be tough to replace, and they don't really have much to replace him with. I know they brought in Yuri Patera, but I think that's a downgrade from Casey DeSmith. Shelovs was great in the playoffs, but I don't know if that's sustainable. He was actually not very good with the Abbotsford Canucks in the AHL. So yeah, the goaltending could be a point of could be a crisis, to be honest, if it's Demko misses in a lot of time. But yeah, that's why they're talking with Kevin Lankinen, one of the better backups in the league. Potentially a good starter. Like he was actually keeping the Sharks in a lot of games last year. So yeah, if they get him to fill in for Demko, that's a massive win. But still nothing on that front as Lankinen continues to wait for a bit more money. Yeah, this is a team that's still built built in the back, built structurally sound. JT Miller up front performs a great defensive role. Elias Pettersson, hopefully he plays better than he did towards the back half of last season and in the playoffs. He said he was hurt, but I don't know how hurt he was. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, now that he's got the big contract, he's going to have massive expectations on him. So he's got to perform. Like, he's got to be the player he was in the first half of last season, no doubt, because he's getting paid like it. But other than that, we got the Norris winner, Quinn Hughes, really the best player on the team. I think the most important player, because when he's on the ice, it's like the Canucks are flying. When he's off the ice, it's a struggle bus sometimes. So this guy is the identity of the team, I think. So Quinn Hughes is healthy. This team has a chance. And yeah, I do expect them to continue to make progress as the coaching continues to improve this team. Now they have a belief in themselves. So yeah, I think that the Canucks are a team that will exceed expectations in the betting market. I finally got around to doing most of my numbers here, so I do have my own projections. Yeah, so 101.7 points. The point total is 99.5 around there. So yeah, I like the over quite a bit. I mean, maybe not quite a bit, but I bet it anyway. I found a 97.5 too, so I do have a lot of Canucks exposure already. Of course, bet them for the division plus 450. Oilers are the right favorites. They're even odds on in some books, which is wild. They're the only team that are odds on to win a division. So yeah, I like the plus 450 number here for the Canucks. Obviously minus 250 make the playoffs. Like I said, I think that only 3 teams get into the Pacific, and the Canucks, I think, are a level above the likes of the Kraken and the Kings even. So they're in the mix there with the Knights and the Oilers. So love the Canucks again. Not quite as strong on them as last season because the betting market caught up, of course. We're not going to get 14-1 to win the division this year. So yeah, I like the Canucks to do well. I mean, I think I like them long term actually even better, like the Stanley Cup odds, even though those have come down. But this is one of the teams that I have I bet to win the Stanley Cup, bet to win the conference, that kind of thing. But yeah, once again, heavy on the hometown team here.
Yeah, I mean, it all really hinges on Demko. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't go out and get a backup goalie in free agency. Maybe they thought Demko was healthy and he'd be fine for training camp. That's the only kind of excuse or reason I can.
They have Patera.
Okay. Okay, sure. Wedgwood was out there. I mean, Stolarz went to Toronto. He's been a solid backup. Like, there are guys out there that have been 1B goalies, or at least backup goalies that can fill in for guys.
It's all about salary cap space. The Canucks are crushed against the cap, and that was the reason why they couldn't keep DeSmith. But now that I don't think that they knew the extent of Demko's injury, so there wasn't an urgency, I think, to prioritize that position.
Yeah, but coming into the season, I think the Canucks are likely the team in this division on the highest on minus 250 to make the playoffs. I mean, you see here on the screen, you can also get plus 250 to miss. I believe the plus 250 is at DraftKings, and the minus 250 to make is at BetMGM. If you want to hammer that, I like that quite a bit. Obviously, depends on Demko's injury, but I still feel like they're good enough to make the playoffs in this division. I found 100 plus point for them to get 100 points is plus 105 at FanDuel. I do like that with the over under at 99.5. You can probably get a good number there. 110 points.
I got that too. It was like plus 110, but at the same book, the over 9.5 was minus 110. Like, oh, this is an easy one.
yeah. That's why you always got to shop around. Like for every sporting. Like today for one of my baseball picks, the player to get on base or to get over half a base, which basically means get a hit, was less than to get a hit. So just shop around all the time. But yeah, Canucks 110 points is plus 370 on FanDuel. I think I saw it as low as like plus 280 at either Bet365 or DraftKings. So I like that. I mean, they got 109 points last year. They can maybe take a step forward, just get one more point for plus 370. Don't hate that at all.
What's the Presidents? If they got 110 points, they're going to be in the mix for that.
Yeah,
12-1, something like that.
I recently updated my my computer, and it's been going slow today, so I don't have that up. But I'll try to find that there.
I'll find it.
But yeah, plus 450 for the division. I kind of like that quite a bit. We'll get into the Oilers next, but I'm fading them a bit this year after going on a long playoff run. I think Draisaitl had a few more injuries than they let on. Not
25 to
sure.
1. 25 to 1 to win the President's Trophy. Much
Okay,
rather have that than
much rather have that than 370 for under 10 points. Yeah, that's probably my favorite bet on the Canucks then. Plus 25 to 1 for President's Trophy. 450 for the division though is good because all it takes is the Oilers kind of faltering a little bit, and the Canucks can be right there. So yeah, I like the Canucks quite a bit again this season. Looks like we're going to be a Canucks pod again.
No doubt.
All right, here we are also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. Bet anywhere. BetUS is available in tons of locations, including internationally. BetUS just launched an all-new live betting experience. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. And use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. And SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is a #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Rhythm AI had a great NFL week 2, 22.5% ROI on NFL spread bets, and 44.3% return on investment on NFL money line. So claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMN. All right, Joel, ready to hop over to Edmonton here?
Yeah, let's go. The favorites in the division, of course. Last season was noteworthy for many reasons. The Oilers probably had one of the most eventful seasons in the league, with that horrific start that climaxed with the loss to the lowly ass San Jose Sharks, which resulted in Jay Woodcroft getting fired and Chris Knobloch coming in, who really changed the team positively. He made them more defensively sound. It took a little bit of time, but he got them going. They almost set a record for the most wins in a row with, what was it, like 15, 16, 17, something in that range. You'd think it was higher considering the history of the league. But anyway, it's not. I guess it's hard to win like fucking 20 games in a row. Yeah. They ended up losing to the Knights there to kill that run. They had an historically good power play as well for stretches of the season, but actually only finished 4th. I was looking at that today. I thought that they were at least 2nd. They're still scoring at better 26%, so that's a bit of a surprise. I guess there were some damn good power plays in the league last year, like Tampa Bay Lightning had the best. What was it, like the 28.63% for the Lightning? That's pretty crazy. But in the playoffs, the Oilers continued that special teams excellence with the best penalty kill in the league, almost 95%. Which is unreal. Helps that the Panthers couldn't fucking score on the power play ever. It was like frustrating watching them get on the power play. It was like, oh, here we go. The Oilers probably going to score shorthanded again. They also got a bunch of shorthanded goals, right? So special teams were the story of their playoffs. A big reason why they almost made it all the way. Just losing in Game 7, of course. Power play was nearly 30% of the playoffs. So yeah, that's the reason why they were winning those games. Goaltending was only really a concern in the Canucks series when Skinner got benched. Pickard, he played well in relief, but when Skinner got back in there, I thought he played well enough to win. But yeah, it's really just the defense that continues to undermine the Oilers. Definitely a point of weakness year in, year out, but that's what happens when you're so top heavy and paying those big guys all that money. But yeah, I think that considering the start of the season, we got to give the Oilers an A. I mean, the only way you can give them better is if they fucking won Game 7. So A season, and yeah, I think we'll see how they do next year as we'll get into that.
Yeah, I think last season was a great success for the Oilers. Like they could have went out sad, could have got swept or lost in 5, but they pushed it to 7. Lost by 1 goal there in Game 7. I forgot Skinner got benched in the conference final there, so that even goes more to my wariness about him. But yeah, I mean, last year their offensive numbers were insane. First in expected goals 4% at 57.09%. Carolina was second And then third was Dallas at 55.19. So almost 2 whole percentage points above the third place team, thanks to the league best expected goals for per 60 of 3.2. Second best was Carolina at 2.94, and then Nashville at 2.83. So just a really just outlier the Oilers were in terms of generating expected goals. I think that kind of resulted in goals for as well. They had 2.9 goals for per 60 per game behind Toronto and Colorado. Like you said, their special teams was fantastic. We know all about their power play, but the penalty kill is really what carried them in the playoffs. So yeah, Oilers are going into this season Stanley Cup or bust, like it should be for them, having McDavid and Draisaitl now locked up.
Absolutely, and yeah, they strengthened the team, I think, somewhat in the offseason here, bringing in more scoring. We can question whether that's really their need, but they brought in Jeff Skinner, of course. They brought in what's his name, Victor Arvidsson from the Kings. So yeah, lots plenty of scoring here for the Oilers. But I think that they really need defense, like I was saying, like that's their weakness. Like they lost Vincent Desjardins, who I thought was a solid depth guy, but Josh Brown, they brought this guy in. I don't know if that's going to solve anything. So yeah, the nurse continues to be a problem back there. They have a great first deep pairing with Ekholm and Bouchard, but I do think that they need something else behind them, because when they're on the ice, it's a problem. Despite the improvements that Knoblauch has made in their system. So that's my concern. Losing Warren Fogle, Sam Carrick, just depth guys. They brought in Carrick at the deadline, so he wasn't with the team very long. They, of course, have Adam Henrique, bring him in at the deadline. So that strengthens them down the middle, gives them a solid third line. So, yeah, no problems with them offensively, but defensively it continues to be an issue. And, of course, they lost, what's his name, the Broberg to the Blues with that, what do you call it, the help me out here. What do we call
it? Offer sheet.
Offer sheet. Yes, the offer sheet. And they lost the other guy too. My brain's gone.
Dylan Holloway.
Dylan Holloway. Yes. And of course they brought in the Russian facility, put Colson from the Canucks to help with that. But yeah, losing Broberg, there was a lot of potential of a former first round pick. I think he was pretty early in the first round as well. So he had a lot of potential that they were looking at. Maybe get paid too much by the Blues, considering what Broberg's done so far. I mean, he wasn't even in the starting lineup for much of the season, but he played well in the playoffs. So I think that's another blow to the Oilers here. So I don't know. I like Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner there. I mean, now that you're not paying Jeff Skinner the full price, but Arvidsson is another great scorer there. So the Oilers, I mean, they're as good as it gets offensively, but the fact that they didn't get any better defensively is my concern. So I'll give him a B-.
Yeah, I mean that's always the Oilers' concern. They also, I saw today, they're bringing in Mike Hoffman on a PTO because they don't already have enough offense first wingers there with Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson. You also failed to mention they traded away Cody Ceci. Like, I know Ceci's not good, but he played 20 minutes a night for them last year, so he was able to chew up minutes. So that's something that they're going to be missing. And yeah, Broberg averaged almost 16 minutes a game in the playoffs after 11 minutes in the regular season, 8th overall pick from 2019. So he still had some potential, and that's going to be their downfall if they lose, is defense and goaltending, as it has been since they drafted McDavid. They're going to be putting up goals, but it's going to be about preventing goals and stopping goals in net. So going to be big to see what they do on defense. But good for them to lock up Draisaitl. McDavid they'll lock up next offseason too. So yeah, decent offseason. I'm a little bit lower on it than you are, just because I think the additions of Arvidsson and Skinner were unnecessary. Much would have preferred them keeping Broberg and even keeping Ceci. Like, I feel like those would have been better moves for them to kind of shore up that back end. You can never have too much defense, especially in the playoffs. So probably a C+ for me.
Right, and that defense is why I can't really back them to do well in the playoffs. But obviously, they are expected to do excellent in the regular season. I mean, their odds are the lowest in the league in terms of their chances to win the President's Trophy, to win their division. Their point total is the highest in the league, and yeah, I have them as the best team in the league as well, significantly actually, with 3 points better than the Stars here. And yeah, but you can't really bet them really because the price is factored in. They're only 6-1 to win the President's Trophy. I guess that's the only thing I would look at. Plus 125 division is just too low, especially with the Canucks right behind them. And Canucks at 5 points better than last season. And it's just a matter of the start. Like the Oilers, they can't be thinking we got to just wait for the playoffs because that's what happened last year. And so I think that they'll come up firing. I think they'll have a strong season. They're the rightful favorites to win the President's Trophy and the division, of course, but not something I'm going to bet. The price is just a little too low. But yeah, I think that they learned from last season in terms of the regular season does matter, and they can't just slouch around until they get to the playoffs here, and then they'll come up firing. So yeah, this is a team that you like in the regular season, but not a team that I'm particularly high on to win the cup just because of their issues aren't really. Yeah, they have too many issues in terms of their defense, of course, once again, and the goaltending it's okay, but I don't think it's going to help them, especially when their defense is so bad. I mean, if I say defense one more time, I'm going to shoot myself in the head. But that's just the story of this team, okay? That's the theme of the Edmonton Oilers. That's their identity, just a top-heavy team. And I don't think that's going to be enough to win the Stanley Cup. But it's got to happen this year because next year is when the Draisaitl contract kicks in. Next year is when they have to pay Evan Bouchard, and they're already strapped to the cap, so they'll have to cut a lot of weight next offseason. So this is going to be the best Oilers team, I think, in McDavid's career here. So this is their best chance, and it's priced like it. So I think it'll be great in the regular season, but not a team I'm looking to back, especially not for the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, right now there's really nothing you can bet for this team. Very accurately priced. I mean, if anything, if you had to make an Oilers bet and you had like whatever under 108.5 points would probably be what I look for. They had 104 last year when their point total was set at 106.5. So 2 points higher this year after a long playoff run that I'm now seeing earlier today, just 2-3 hours ago. Evander Kane's missing the start of the season. He's undergoing surgery on several injuries. 2 hip abductor muscles, 2 hernias, and 2 torn lower ab muscles. So that kind of makes sense.
I think it's more than the start of the season. I think he's going to miss a lot of the season. He's going to miss.
He might pull a Mark Stone, come back right for.
I think so.
For game 1 of the playoffs. Yep. So it makes sense why they brought in Hoffman today. But yeah, this Oilers team, if they have a rut at some point, like plus 850 for the cup is decent, but you can probably get that or just as good in the second half of the season, and you might be able to get them 10-1 or better, 12-1 maybe if it gets up that high, if they have a slow start. So this is kind of a team just to keep an eye on. If the President's Trophy line gets close to 10-1, probably similar thing for the cup too. 10-1 would be something that I would pull the trigger on. But for now, just wait and see. Maybe an under on the point total.
Yeah, it's getting bet. I saw. I think there's a lot of love for the Oilers naturally, but for good reason. They're the best team in the league. And yeah, I don't want to fade them here. I think that they'll be a force in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be one of the teams that are going to. We'll see plenty of more -300s, -400s out of the Oilers this season with, totals at 7. Definitely, especially with their defense now. After last season, they still had CC and Broberg and a competent 3 pairs pretty much. But now it's going to be very high scoring games there in Edmonton.
Yeah, what's their second power play looking like here with if your computer's working?
I got
my computer never works.
Arvidsson, Henrique, Skinner, Nurse, and Ekholm.
Okay,
so that they're in theory they should be able to score on the second power play.
Yeah, Arvidsson, I figured he'd be there. Skinner too. Yeah, it's basically like a whole new line there if you include Adam Henrique from the trade deadline. Yeah, but that first power play absolutely deadly. It's the reason why they win a lot of games.
Yeah, they got Ty Emberson on the second pair. I'm not sure who that is, and then Brett Kulak and Troy Stetcher on the third pair. So they're going to need someone to step up on the blue line for them.
For sure. All right. Oh, what else we want to talk about?
You like any player awards for these teams?
Yeah.
Any Quinn Hughes for Norris? And McDavid for Hart?
I have not bet any of these. No, I think that Quinn Hughes is the likeliest for the Canucks to win an award again. But the odds, of course, are nothing like they were last season. 6 to 8 to 1 range for Quinn Hughes to win the Norris. If Elias Pettersson can play like he did a couple years ago, then maybe him for the Hart would be a possibility, but not something I'm interested in. Oh, JT Miller, I did bet him for Selke at 100-1. Yeah, I think that he's the best defensive player on the team now. I know Pettersson, was he nominated 2 years ago, you were saying, for the Selke? Or he got votes?
I think he was like top. I think it was like at least top 5 or something.
Wow. Okay. Well, right now JT Miller's the better defensive center, so 100-1, whatever. I'll take a shot on that.
He was 7th 2 years ago. So
okay,
yeah.
You got a few votes then. Yeah, that's the only one I bet. Oilers, nothing really, but I have McDavid in a couple parlays to win the Hart, just because I do think that he is likely to do so. Plus 150 is nothing to write home about. Not something I'm going to be betting a lot of. But I do think that he gets back to the top of the mountain there. I mean, he won the fucking Conn Smythe on a losing team. So I think the Hart is well within his reach, as the odds suggest. But yeah, I think that that's the only way to play it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good future parlay piece if you're into that type of thing. Yeah, Pettersson 75-1 for the Hart I'm seeing here. I think that could definitely come down if he has a strong season. Not sure what Hughes is for the Norris, but I'm sure it's too short to bet right now.
Yeah, I think that it's gonna be chalky there. The Norris too. Mentioned before with Cale Makar. I think that he gets it done again.
Yeah, Cale Makar plus 280, Quinn Hughes 750, Fox and Bouchard both 8-1. So Brock Faber, where's Brock Faber at? He's our guy there. Down to 75-1, down to 36-1 at FanDuel. So he's been moving down since our plus 150 or 150-1 and 100-1.
Indeed, yeah.
All right, I think we're good to close this out. We're gonna get it to 45 plus minutes here with the ad breaks and whatnot.
All right, let's give me let me pull up a sheet here.
We're coming back Friday, right? So you got any Thursday night football bets or Friday night college?
Thursday. What is the Thursday game?
Oh, it's a fucking barn burner. You got Pats Jets.
Oh yeah, I bet the Patriots 6.5. Yeah, it's just too much for this Jets team, especially the way that their defense have been playing. And you could run the ball on them very easily, and that's what the Patriots do. They're running the ball like it's the 1970s there with Ramondre Stevenson. So I like the Patriots quite a bit there to cover the 6.5 against this Jets team. That defense doesn't look like it used to. Like last year, they were carrying the offense. Now the offense might have to carry the defense for New York, which is unfortunate because I bet the Jets to do some good things here, and I'm not exactly encouraged by how they have played so far. Even in that win against the Titans, I don't think that they were significantly better than Tennessee. So, yeah, 6.5 is just too many for Patriots, who are a surprising team. Like, they're supposed to be the worst team in the league. I don't think so. They needed to beat our Seahawks even. Took them to OT anyway. Thankfully, Seattle came through in the end. But, yeah, 6.5 for the Patriots. Just too much respect for the Jets. Don't think they've earned it just yet.
Yeah, I mean, Patriots plus 6 with a total of 38.5. Like it should be a low scoring game, points at a premium.
Kind of like the over too. I haven't bet it, but the over is interesting there.
Primetime unders though. Primetime unders aren't they a thing?
They are a thing indeed, but 38 points is I think it's just giving too much respect for that Jets defense. I think that it's not as good, especially got some injuries, and of course, Hassan Reddick still holding out, and the Patriots' offense is better than expected. So I think that we could see some points there. If it gets to maybe another half point, a point, I'll jump in there. But if you don't like my plus 6.5, then I lean towards that over.
Stevenson plus 125 to get a touchdown. Like, who else is going to score for them? I think that's probably the way to go if you want some plus odds there.
Good point.
Yeah. All right. Anything else here in college football?
College football, oh man, I'm getting crushed in college the last 2 weeks. Worst run in a long time. So I'm a bit scared to give anything out with college, but yeah, I took a lot of dogs this week and last week. Didn't really work out, of course. Thankfully, I was without service, so I didn't get to see all my losing bets there on Saturday. Yeah, what do I have here? I bet LSU minus 24. Not really a homer bet. I think UCLA are just fucking terrible. And that's a good setup there for the Tigers to roll there in Tiger Stadium. Oklahoma plus 7.5. That's a bit dangerous though, because Tennessee had been lighting the lighting the SEC on fire there with their offense. Nico Ayamaleva, whatever the hell is the quarterback name is, the Heisman odds have been dropping rapidly. South Florida plus 17.5. I think that's down to plus 16.5. I don't think that's playable. Auburn -3. That's still out there against Arkansas. I like that one. Arkansas have been a bit too overhyped, and I still like this Auburn team, even though the results haven't quite been there so far. So, yeah, those are just a few of the losers for this week.
I mean, yeah, the people can always fade them if they want to. If you've been having shitty picks recently, so yeah, we'll be back. What, Friday night? We'll start on the Central.
Yeah, we'll do the Blackhawks and the Kraken for the Coyotes. I think.
Yeah, so. maybe we'll sneak a third in there, or we can figure out how we're gonna tier them. But yeah, we'll be back Friday, probably 9:30ish Eastern times. You can check us out then. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple, subscribe on Spotify, or where you listen to your podcast. We appreciate it. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. Follow on Twitter at HockeySGPN and the Discord. Starting to get some activity there in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. And I am Ryan Gilbert. You can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop.
And I'm Joe Meyer. And hopefully I'll be catching up on some much needed sleep.
See ya.